Hi, it's Anne from Virtual Quilters, and we're going to talk about the quilt called Postcard from Sweden. This is a picture of it I happen to have from a long time ago, a kit that I bought for this online, and it came with the free pattern. I couldn't find it online, so we're just going to learn the technique, and you can make it your way and go from there. So this quilt is all half square triangles. What makes it amazing is all the colors and how bright and bold it is. So we have some color lessons that we need to just go through quickly so that you can make good choices for your fabrics. Now this is the classic rainbow colors. You may or may not want to do that, but I'm going to start with explaining how you would pick fabrics for the rainbow pattern, and then I'll do a second video that'll talk about maybe some other options in case you want to do this but not with these colors. But the rainbow's fun. So anyway, to give you an idea, since this takes quite a while to make, I decided for our quilt along we would instead do this size. I just digitally cropped it, which is basically, what is it here? It's basically about, wrong page, sorry. It's basically about 15 inches to 16 inches wide and 35 to 36 long. This can work for a table runner, can work for a porch quilt. If you don't know what that is, I make those to hang on my small porch that's protecting from sun and rain. And rotate them, which is fun. Or it's the perfect dimensions to hang on a door or in a narrow space in your home. So it makes a very cute wall hanging. So there's two versions that I'm going to suggest. And this size, by the way, is so you can make it, get the technique down, and have something really enjoyable. But if you continue to make more of the squares, you can make any size quilt that you want using the same technique. So anyway, this is where we cut 3.5-inch squares, and we have a lot of things going on, which is what I'm going to make. And then this is for someone who'd like to learn the technique but doesn't want to make that many half square triangles. It will be the same dimensions, but I used 5-inch squares for this one digitally, just so you would have some options. And the colors that I have here, like I said, it's just a crop of the first picture you saw, and you don't have to do these colors, but it gives you a guide. If you want something, then you can say, I want to make exactly that or something similar to that. So it gives you a start. Okay, so let's see. So for the one with all the different half square triangles with 3.5-inch cut squares, that's going to be 2.5-inch finished half square triangles. You shrink a 1/2 inch every time you do a seam. So when you do the diagonal seam on each square, that's going to shrink it a 1/2 inch, and then another 1/2 inch to sew them together. So it'll be 1 inch less, approximately. You'll need to check and trim the half square triangles when they're done. But we'll talk more about that on the day of the quilt along. And so, if you did, so those are going to be what I had already mentioned, dimensions. If you decide you want to make a full quilt, if you cut 5-inch squares, which is 4-inch finished, that would end up with the picture I originally showed you as a 48 by 60-inch quilt, which is a lap quilt size. Or if you cut 6-inch squares, 5-inch finished, that would be a 60 by 75-inch quilt, which is approximately a throw size. And of course, you can just keep going to your heart's content. Anyway, I will also, in the class that we're going to have on April 14th, be sharing how I add triangles on the back for something this size to make it easy to hang. And it's a very simple process, but I haven't seen too much out there on the internet to share, so I'll make a video for that too. I do that with all my smaller wall hangings, makes them easy to hang, and they stay flat if I want to decide to use it as a table runner back and forth. And I have done that. Okay, so for this, you're going to cut what you need. For the one with lots of squares, you need to cut 84 squares, 3.5 inches each. And if you're going to do this larger one here, you're going to need to cut 36 squares. And those will start with, you'll be cutting 5-inch squares. So quite a bit of difference, but you know, it goes quickly with half square triangles. Okay, so now the next step is we'll talk about putting together colors. So I have here the squares that I cut. This is traditional rainbow colors in order as they are in nature. And the acronym that people use is ROY G BIV. ROY, the letter G, BIV. And what that stands for is red, orange, yellow. That's Roy. G is for green. And then BIV is blue, indigo, which is dark blue, and violet. Now you notice here I have pink ones at the end. I tend to like to do that just for organizing it flat on a table. It's a wraparound. If this was a circle, the pink would be between the red and the violet. But to lay it out flat on the table and see it the way I like to look at it, I just throw the pink at the end and it works. You can put these in any order you want as long as you can break it wherever you want. Like I broke it here. Pink is actually in the red family. But I broke it here. This is where the traditional break is. I broke it instead there. So just to explain so there's no confusion. So, and the classes I've taken with doing rainbow colors, the one I liked the most was not having it in a circle, but having it in lines on the table like this. Okay, so the next step of what we do is you're going to cut everything that you want. Like I said, these are all fairly bright, which means there's not much gray in the color. They're not muddied with grays. You can have some in there, but they stand out. You'll spot them. And traditionally they use all solids, but I like to put in some prints, small prints, that from a galloping horse would look like a solid. I figure that's close enough, and it adds some texture and interest, I think. You can do it your way. One of the tricks that I learned in classes is if you want this to do like a color wash and move smoothly with which two colors you put together to make a half square triangle, if you're doing it 2 at a time, which for this number I would. So make the half square triangles 2 at a time. And to make that process easy, I do them. So here's the reds. I went from dark to light in the reds and put them in that order. I took a picture of it and turned it to grayscale, black and white, so I could visually make sure, it's trickier with prints and colors, that they were actually in order, dark to light. The next group, what we do, and I've got that one backwards, interestingly enough. I'll have to switch it. No big deal. I've been moving them around. So the next one, the next color, which is orange, this is the lightest, so we're going to start with the lightest and go to dark. That means there isn't a jarring change. It moves smoother. Okay, the next one ends with the dark, and it looks like I've got them all backwards. Look at that. So we'll put dark to light. And then same thing here. I'm glad I put these out neatly, huh? Okay, and dark ends with dark. And I'll switch these around. This is a little bit more than I was expecting to do. Anyway, so it ended in the dark color. Then it starts with dark and goes to light. And then same here. Okay, and it ends in dark. So we're switching them all, lucky us. This one would start with the dark and go to light, and then light to dark. So if you do that, that's going to help with the matching up, because when we have our meeting on April 14th, on Tuesday, we'll be talking about which ones do you pick, and you're going to match them up in pairs with neighbors. So this really helps you get it laid out and ready to do that. So if you're comfortable with it and you're what we teasingly call an overachiever, you can go ahead and start making your half square triangles. But I would recommend very much that you wait start making them till we have our meeting on the 14th, so that I can show you the tricks that I've learned on putting together rainbow colors and making the half square triangles. And I think that's everything for the rainbow palette. So you'll want to, before the class, if you're able to, get your squares cut and in order and ready to start. And if you don't, that's fine. You can catch up when we meet on Zoom. Thank you. Watch the next video to see some other color choices. Thank you.